Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos. Also, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll get notified when I upload new videos. Today I have 3 DIY Dollar Tree spring Easter decor items, and I believe that they turned out all super cute. So if you want to see how I made them, then continue watching. First up is this Easter wreath. I love how it turned out. I think it's super cute and it's neutral, so it will definitely match my decor and it will definitely match any farmhouse themed decor. So the supplies I'm going to be using from the Dollar Tree is this willow wreath, also this floral moss. Also I'm going to be using these foam Easter eggs, this twine, and also this burlap ribbon. I'm going to be using some white chalk paint, and I'm going to be using some spray adhesive. And I'm going to be using a white pipe cleaner. Also, I'm going to be using these Baby's Breath from the Dollar Tree. To get started, I'm going to take my foam Easter eggs and just start pulling out that ribbon that is stuck in the bottom of them. It's really easy just to pull them out. And I am going to start to paint my Easter eggs, but I am taking a toothpick and sticking at the bottom of them. That way it's easier to hold as I paint them. And I am using a sponge brush. I just find that it's easier to paint on styrofoam with a sponge brush. And after I painted the eggs, I went ahead and stuck them in this foam block. I know that I didn't mention at the beginning, but I just found that it was easier to stick them in there while they dried. And I did paint all of the eggs white. So now I'm going to add moss to my wreath, and I'm taking my spray adhesive and just spraying in small sections at a time and just placing my moss on of course, the wet glue. And I'm just going to do that around my entire wreath, and then I'm just going to let it dry. Actually, the spray adhesive dries really quick, so that's why I'm working in small sections. And it is pretty messy to work with. That's why I have some aluminum foil underneath it. That's to protect my little work surface, and it's easy cleanup by just tossing it in the trash. And after I have all the moss on my wreath, I'm just going to go ahead and flatten, just kind of pat down the moss onto the wreath to make sure that it's adhered good. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just kind of clean up any straggly pieces that are hanging over. And now I'm going to wrap my wreath with twine. I hot glued it to the back of it, and then I just wrap it around it, and then when I get to the end, I'm going to secure it with hot glue on the back side as well. And now I'm just going to attach my eggs that I painted with hot glue around my wreath, but I am leaving a section open at the top for my bow. Okay, so to make the bow, I'm starting off by cutting out my tail, and I'm making it about 7 inches. By the way, I did end up changing the tail to be a bit longer, and I will show you that a bit later in the video. So here I am going to make the actual bow, and I want it to be about 6 inches in width from both sides. So I am putting my end of my ribbon at about the 2.5 mark, and then I'm going to make my loop at the 6-inch mark, and I'm going to pinch it in the middle at the 3-inch mark, and I am pinching both the top and the bottom ribbon together. Then I'm going to do a loop, and I'm going to have the end of that loop at the very end of my ruler. Then I'm going to do a little twist in the middle and pinch that all together. Now I'm going to make my second loop, and I'm going to actually do this loop at the 5-inch mark. And then I'm going to go ahead and pinch that as well. Then I'm going to make another loop at the other end and make that end at the 1-inch mark. And then I'm going to take my ribbon and twist it in the middle there, and then you guessed it, pinch them all together. And now I want to make a loop for in the middle of my bow, so I'm just going to take a little bit of that ribbon and fold it over and then cut it. It should be about 2 to 3 inches, that loop. That way there's enough to secure with my pipe cleaner. So now I'm going to take that tail of my ribbon and go ahead and pinch it to the back of my looped ribbons, and then I'm going to secure that with my pipe cleaner. I'm just going to stick that through the loop and make sure that that loop is actually tucked underneath that pipe cleaner, and then go ahead and secure it by twisting my pipe cleaner on the back side of my ribbon. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut the triangles in the tails of my ribbon. And now I'm just attaching that bow onto the wreath with my pipe cleaner and then fluffing out my ribbon. So I cut off some of those white stems, and now I'm just hot gluing them onto my wreath, and I'm putting 3 in between each of the eggs. except for up by the bow, I only put 2 in that spacing up there. I decided to redo my tail of my ribbon, so I am actually cutting off a strip of 12 inches, and this will make my new tail, so it'll be about 6 inches on each side. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing I did with the shorter tails. I'm going to go ahead and take that piece of ribbon and pinch it to the back of my bow ribbon, and then I'm just going to go ahead and insert that pipe cleaner through them all and twist it around to the back of it, and then go ahead and tighten it by twisting it up. And then I'll cut out the triangles again on the tails of my ribbon, and then just go ahead and attach it to my ribbon. And I think that that looks so much better with the tails a bit longer. Next up, I'm going to be showing you how to make this adorable bunny topiary. Okay, so from the dollar store, I'm going to be using more floral moss. I'm going to be using a foam block and also a terracotta pot and this styrofoam ball and this polka dotted burlap ribbon. Also, I'm going to be using the cardboard top and bottom to this ribbon spool. Also, I will be using 3 toothpicks. Supplies not from the Dollar Tree is the spray adhesive and my white chalk paint. I'm going to start off by painting my terracotta pot with my white chalk paint. Next, I'm going to start attaching the moss to my foam ball like I did in my other video, and I'm going to go ahead and spray that with my spray adhesive and then place the moss on top of that. And then I am patting it down onto the ball just to make sure that that moss is adhered good. And then I'm going to just go ahead and take my scissors and trim that up. And next I'm going to take my floral foam and cut it and make it fit inside my little terracotta pot, and I do take some small pieces and fill in any of the gaps. And now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and put a generous amount on top of all that floral foam, and then I'm going to take my moss and lay it on top of that, and then I'm going to just take my scissors and cut off any bits that are hanging over the side. Now I'm going to take my toothpick and stick it in the bottom of my styrofoam ball and go ahead and stick that into my terracotta pot. And this is what it's looking like so far. I'm going to remove the cardboard top and bottom to my ribbon here, and I'm actually going to use that to draw my bunny ears on. And so here I am just freehanding those bunny ears, and you don't have to worry about it being perfect because the moss is going to cover it up anyways. Take that second cardboard circle and put it underneath and just go ahead and cut those ears out. And now I'm going to hot glue some toothpicks to the bottom of those ears, and this is so it will stick in my topiary ball. Next, I'm going to add moss to my ears by using my spray adhesive and just putting my moss on there. And I am going to trim up those edges, and I'm going to do the front and the back side separately like this. That way I can shape out my ears good. And then I'm just going to do the back side the same way by spraying it with spray adhesive and putting my moss on top of that, and then just trimming up the ear shape. And I will be doing this to the second ear as well. And now I'm just going to take those bunny ears and stick them in the top of my topiary ball. So here I am. I've cut some strip of ribbon for my bow, and here I'm going to cut another small strip of ribbon for the middle of my bow. And here I'm taking that longer strip and applying some hot glue to the end, and I'm going to attach the other end of my ribbon to that. So that will be at the back of my bow, and here I am pinching that bow together in the middle. So I'm going to take that smaller strip and I'm going to fold my sides in on top of each other to make a small strip. You can use a little bit of hot glue here if you want. I didn't find it necessary, but I am going to take my hot glue and I'm going to put a little bit on my bow, and then I'm just going to wrap that smaller strip around the center of my bow. I am going to place a little bit of hot glue on the back of my bow and then just finish that ribbon around there. And I will have a little bit of excess left over, and I will just cut that off. So the last step is to actually attach the bow. I'm using my hot glue. I'm going to put some hot glue on the moss area above the lip of my topiary container there, and then just go ahead and stick that on. Next up is this egg onion grass arrangement, and I think that it turned out really cute as well. So the Dollar Tree supplies that I used for this project is this terracotta pot. Also, I am using some twine. I'm going to be using 3 of those small painted styrofoam eggs that I painted for my wreath that I had left over. I'm going to be using a stem of onion grass, also from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using this foam block, and also I'm going to be using this floral moss. I'm going to be using bamboo skewers, 3 of them, and I already had these on hand. And I'm going to be using some brown paint. And I'm going to be using some white ribbon I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start off by taking my brown paint on a paintbrush and just kind of tapping the paintbrush to get brown specks on my eggs. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick some of that styrofoam block into my terracotta pot. And I'm going to take my hot glue and put it all over my foam and go ahead and put my moss on top of that. So I'm taking my onion grass sprigs and I'm just pulling off the sections off of it, and I'm pulling that flower off, and I'm just kind of measuring to see how tall I want that grass to be, and then I'm going to stick a piece of tape around it. If I had floral tape I would use that, but I don't. And then I just went ahead and cut the stem off below that tape. Since the onion grass wouldn't go into my styrofoam like that, I had to put a toothpick in it, and then I was able to stick it in my styrofoam ball. And I did this for all the little leaf sections on this stem. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and stick those toothpicks into my styrofoam. And be careful with those toothpicks because the one end is still pointy, and I did poke my finger with it. So here I am using the end of my foam brush to go ahead and push those toothpicks all the way down into the styrofoam. And then I took my bamboo skewers and went ahead and stuck them in the bottom of the styrofoam eggs. Then I tied a bow in some twine, and I went ahead and hot glued it onto my bamboo skewer right beneath my egg. And then I went ahead and added all 3 of my egg skewers into my pot. I just kind of arranged them how I wanted them to go, and here is what it looks like. And I did want a ribbon to go around the top of my pot, so I'm going ahead and hot gluing that white ribbon around it. And I made a bow out of that white ribbon, and here I am just hot gluing it onto my pot. So those are my 3 DIY Dollar Tree Easter spring decor items. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below on which one you like the best and which one you might try. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, then please give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.